to be your ego versus your higher self. We have 3 piles to choose from. We have 1, 2, and 3. Pile 1 is the quartz crystal, just a clear quartz crystal. Pile 2 is the carnelian stone. A red stone. And pile 3, I don't really know what this stone is, but I call it my Vantage stone. Has stripes. Has gold stripes on it. Pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. Let's get on into it. So for pile 1, with the quartz crystal, what is your ego? The Fool reversed, the World, the Ace of Bats. And we have dawn, the light after the darkness. So in your ego, I actually feel like you may get the sense that your truth, I get the sense that you feel like you have completed something that you may have not actually completed. Like you have achieved a level. The World can be a card about university, right? About learning our lessons, right? About achieving higher education. And with this Ace of Bats, that's a truth, right? So I get the sense that your ego feels like it knows the truth because it has learned its lessons. Like, there's nothing you can teach me, people, right? I also get the sense that if you are educated, you might use those advanced degrees to show up, like to be a know-it-all when you don't actually know it all. But for the majority of you, I actually feel like this is the shadow side of The Secret and the law of attraction and Abraham Hicks's stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love that stuff. I love the law of attraction. I love, living your best life, thinking positively. And so I'm not knocking that because it does create a world where you are the co-creator, right? It does, you are in charge of creating your own world. But I feel like where your ego is, this light after the darkness, the dawn, with the Fool reversed, I feel like there might be some foolish decisions that you make as a result of thinking, God's got my back, and I'm just happy, and I'm just going to feel positive. But whenever you oversaturate yourself with positivity, you ignore, you ignore the cancers within yourself that need to be addressed and purged out of your system. So sometimes facing our shadow self and facing those negative thoughts and facing those icky challenges pivots us away into the light, into our wants. But having too much faith on like just feeling like, I'm just going to meditate my way into my dream, right? God's got my back. I'm just going to think positively and namaste my way into all my hopes and dreams. But I feel like there's some overconfidence around sort of like knowing the secrets of the universe, right? When we all have stuff, we all have more stuff to learn. And I think there is an overconfidence in thinking everything has to be positive and not like, I'm seeing a lot of avoidance on deep inner things within yourself that you are unwilling to address because, you are sort of over positive. But with the Fool reversed here, we see this medicine bag. I never noticed it before, but it's kind of like a doctor bag, like a medical bag. Usually the Fool has a little bitty knapsack, and I always tell people, because it is about like taking risks, taking a leap of faith, going into the unknown. And that's the thing. It's like you think you know it, but you don't. It's unknown. Anyway, but he has a knapsack, and it's about going into the unknown. And the thing that I take away from that is that he's not carrying, the Fool isn't carrying all this baggage with him. He has this knapsack where he's prepared, right? But in this deck, you see a bag here, but he's not taking it with him. And this is a medical bag, right? This is something, when we think about medicine, you know, I talked about that cancer, right? That cancer that needs to be purged. If there's something in your life that is, that you need to process, that you need to heal, then jumping into things recklessly is not going to heal them. Jumping recklessly into that new relationship, or quitting your job because you don't like, you know, you don't want, I don't know, quitting your job recklessly, right? But this is sort of like an overconfidence on knowing the mysteries of the universe that you don't quite know, and it's an overconfidence in thinking that positivity is just going to carry you through life. Let's see. Your higher self wants you to know. We have the 3 of Pentacles reversed. We have the 10 of Wands. For some of you, you might be going through your Saturn return, and this is give or take a few years at the age of 29. If you would like me to help you more with your Saturn return, you can order an astrology reading from me, and I can look at your natal chart. But we have Saturn here, right here. See that? And then we have Saturn right here. So it's around the age of 29, and our Saturn return deals with karmic lessons, right? After we go through our Saturn return, we're usually sort of free from a lot of karmic challenges that we had prior to this. But I feel like perhaps you are feeling like you're free of this karmic challenge, but you still have a lot of work to do. The 3 of Pentacles reversed is a card about teamwork, is a card about working hard, and so it's like there's more work that needs to be done before you can go into a new beginning with someone or something else, right? Like the finish line is not quite over, and putting too much weight on just sort of like namasteing your way out of a problem will actually add to that problem. The angels want to tell you, Desiree, yes, see, tarot and oracle, they're right, they're right. Desiree says, no, conditions aren't favorable right now. Wait or look into other options and ask the angels to help guide and comfort you. So it's not the right time to take that leap of faith. You want to take that leap of faith because you think, I've completed a cycle, I've gone through my divorce, I can jump into this relationship, or I've completed, college, and now I'm gonna get that job, or I don't know. It could be any number of things, right? But now's not the time to take the leap of faith, because there is still some inner work that needs to be done that you are avoiding, trying to circumvent the negative parts about yourself, your shadow self, and the stuff that does bring you down, that does make you sad, that does make you angry. You are unwilling to look at that stuff because you're focused on like, well, if I just think positive, then the universe will work for me. But first you have to unkink those negative things that you're unwilling to address, right? You can't I'm getting a message. Y'all are like, some people, I don't like to get political on the general ones, but I'm thinking of how the in this last presidential election, how the DNC was sort of called out what Donna Brazile said for a cancer, right? And I've talked about this cancer, right? And we suffered a really devastating loss, but it was because we were unwilling to address the problems that existed before Trump got elected, right? So it was sort of our own fault for not like looking at those negative things within the party, right? And not reforming those. We wanted to be like, oh, we'll just gloss over this, you know, instead of taking directed action to change those situations. And if you live in another country, I'm sorry, or if you, you know, want to get triggered about this or that, then I'm sorry too. But I had to give that example for some people. The point is, and it's really not about party, if you're left or you're right. If you avoid the things that need to be fixed and try to gloss over it with this, like, you know, audacity of hope, then things can backfire on you, right? So now is the time to troubleshoot any of those challenges, but you have to do it by yourself, and you have to put the work in to surmount those challenges. We have Into the Unknown, and we have Magic Stream. So this could be something related to self-esteem, maybe you don't want to admit those icky things. You don't want to admit the problems that need to be addressed, because that would admit some sort of failing on your part. The Magic Stream is sort of about looking in the mirror and liking what you see. And so, like, for instance, if you just tied up a divorce and you're jumping into another relationship, there might be a part of you who is looking for an external source to validate how you feel about yourself, instead of like looking in the mirror and loving all parts of yourself, right? Like loving that shadow, loving that light part of yourself, loving that dark part of yourself. And with this Into the Unknown card, she's blindfolded, right? So it's like these things that you don't want to see, that you don't want to address, but you have to look at that. You have to go in and figure out what it is inside of you that is seeking this external validation, and why are you so uncomfortable to be by yourself and look at those challenges, to face those challenges. But, you know, seeking that external validation is not going to help you gain that sense of, what do I want to say? It's not even pride, it's just that self-love, right? That I love the good parts of myself, I love the bad parts of myself. I'm going to try to work on the bad parts and, you know, accentuate the positive parts. But if I can't totally remove all of the bad parts, then I can at least accept myself for those bad parts, right? So, you know, changing what you can and accepting what you can't. But there's some sort of leap of faith that you may want to do, and you think it's like a positive new beginning, but it's actually just a repeat of sort of karmic challenges you've already been faced with. Let me know if that resonated. I love you very much. I might get a dislike from them. I'll probably get a dislike from all of these because we're dealing with ego, but you know what? It's okay. I love you very much. If you would like a personal reading, check the description box below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. I love you. Bye. Come on, come on. Okay, if you chose the Carnelian, what's your ego? What's your ego saying? The 4 of Pumpkins, 2 of Wands, 3 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles, 5 of Wands, 6 of Wands, 7 of Wands, 8 of Wands, 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands, 11 of Wands, 12 of Wands, 13 of Wands, 14 of Wands, 15 of Wands, 16 of Wands, 17 of Wands, 18 of Wands, 19 of Wands, 20 of Wands, 21 of Wands, 22 of Wands, 23 of Wands, 24 of Wands, 25 of Wands, 26 of Wands, 27 of Wands, 28 of Wands, 29 of Wands, 30 of Wands, 31 of Wands, 32 of Wands, 33 of Wands, 34 of Wands, 35 of Wands, 36 of Wands, 37 of Wands, 38 of Wands, 39 of Wands, 40 of Wands, 41 of Wands, 42 of Wands, 43 of Wands, 44 of Wands, 45 of Wands, 46 of Wan the King of Ghosts reversed, and the Queen of Bats reversed. And we have Cauldron, Synergy, and Healing. Let me take this in. Your ego is saying to withhold your feelings. Your ego is saying that you're still healing and you should just let God wait for the right time. Your ego is saying if you do disclose your feelings, then you might be met with a fight. You might be met with some harsh words that might hurt your feelings. What I am sensing from this is that you're actually more healed than you think you are, and sort of this victim mentality, this hesitant mentality. It's like polar opposite from the first Bible. This reluctance to open up. Saying like, I'm still not over it. I'm still healing. I'll just wait until the universe gives me a sign. Like that's part of your ego, because it's almost like you have taken on an identity of victimhood that doesn't even fit you anymore. And I'm not saying that like bad stuff hasn't happened to you. You might have had a really rough time, and you might have had good reason to withhold for a while, but I feel like that time has released. With the Cauldron, Synergy and Healing, this is sort of kind of a card about cooking, right? Like waiting for it to boil and bubble until it's ready, right? And I feel like you're more ready than you're giving yourself credit for. The Four of Pumpkins is also, in this deck, it's about planting seeds, and I feel like the crop has already grown, right? Like it's time. It's time to open up. It's time to share. It's time to be more vulnerable with yourself. And why I say it's ego is it's not taking ownership for the situation, staying in this I'm too wounded, little bird, damaged space, is egoic because it gives the perpetrators of your hurt feelings power over you, right? But I feel like, and we'll see what your higher self has to say, but I feel like you have to take more ownership of the situation so that you can be more in control of your hurt feelings, right? So that people don't cut you down. You are sort of in control of who you keep in your life and who you cut out of your life. Who you keep in your life and who you cut out of your life. I'm sorry, my dog is a lunatic. Let's see what your higher self has to say. Get over here, please. No. Stop. We have the Hermit, yeah. We have the Tower, yeah. So with the Hermit and the Tower, it's like you have been going within, you've been retreating, and it's not all for naught. I mean, like I said, it's okay to take time out and to heal. It's okay to acknowledge that people done you wrong, right? And it's okay to go within and sort of try to find a higher purpose. The Hermit is a card about a guy, usually a monk, but a guy who is going through the desert, a dark desert, and all he has is his lantern to guide the way. And his lantern sort of represents like his inner life. So it's sort of like a spirit quest, a soul's journey, but definitely like your path to enlightenment, right? But with this ego storyline down here, it's like too much of that, too like staying in that for too long, staying in this like retreating mode for too long isn't doing anyone any favors, and a tower moment will happen regardless, right? Like the tower will come down whether you want it to or not. With the tower, this is sudden, unexpected changes. So it's like, do you want an act of God to slide in and like boom this up, or do you want to take ownership of it and not be like knocked off your rocker whenever the time is ready for things to move forward, right? Let's see what the angels have to say. Oh, Grace and Antoinette, to help heal the situation, see the other person's point of view with compassion. Sweet. So there is a lot of healing. We have to help heal the situation, and then we have synergy and healing right here. So whatever this is, it's like, there is a lot of healing taking place, but I feel like perhaps now that you have healed yourself, it's time to heal the whole situation, because with Grace and Antoinette, this is about two people, right? I'm reminded of the quote, there's your story, there's my story, and then there's the truth, or something like that. So there's like three sides to a situation, and you have only spent time healing your side of the story, that you haven't got the other person's side of the story, right? So in order to heal it completely, part of that missing puzzle piece is to get the other person's point of view, right? That's going to heal the situation better than what you could do on your own. And there's like a plateau that you reach thinking, I can just do it by myself. I can just like rely on God to do it for me. You know, I said like down here that with this synergy that you thought like you're just waiting for like a sign from the universe, or for like God to show you a sign, but I feel like it's gonna be way harsher if you do that, if you wait on the universe to step in. Like it's gonna like blow your butt away, and you're not gonna be prepared. So if you take ownership and take control of the situation, reach out to this person. You might have, your ego might be a little prideful to reach out to this person, or you know, maybe you're embarrassed about what was said, or any number of things, you know, and again, you know, afraid of getting hurt. But it's like you hurt yourself more by being inactive, by not taking control. What do we have here? We have rescue. Yes! What have I been saying? I swear, like, the way tarot and oracle unfolds, it's like, you can't make this stuff up. So rescue reversed is about being in that victimhood, being in that state of, oh, I'm still a wounded little bird, and wanting someone to swoop in and rescue you, right? Like waiting on the other person to do it. But that's not going to happen. You have to do it yourself, right? You have to rescue and heal the situation. Like, you have met, in the healing process, you've met it halfway by doing your inner work, and that's important. But now you have to, you know, go the extra step and heal the entire situation. Let me know if that resonated. I love you very much, and I will see you next time. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you would like a personal reading, check the description box below. Bye, I love you. Ooh, that was a close one. Almost pressed stop. Ugh. Okay, I guess I could record a part 2 and splice them together, but that would be less convenient. Okay. Number 3 with the Vantage stone. What is your ego? What's going on with your ego? What am I doing? Oh, maybe I guess I wanted to do that. We have midnight, the most magical hour of all. Okay. We have the Queen of Ghosts. We have the Two of Pumpkins. And we have the Page of Imps reversed. Give me a minute. Midnight. There is some juggling of emotion. There might be some financial instability, being behind on bills, not making quite enough, living paycheck to paycheck, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And with this midnight and the Page of Imps, the Page of Imps is my card of like playfulness, right? Of like fun. And whenever it's reversed, this is someone who, it's kind of like a kid who, I'm being reminded of this silly story. In daycare, we got naps, right? Every day we had to take a nap. And if you woke up early enough, then you could take like an extra recess. So there was one day when, one, I couldn't sleep, but two, my little like sneaky child brain was like, I'm just going to stay up, and then when they, call for recess, I'll get to go to recess. But the teacher caught me, and she said that she told me I wasn't allowed to go to recess because she knew that I was staying awake instead of sleeping. So I was kind of like cheating the system. So I was so mad at her, and I was coloring on this paper, and I was like, I hate teacher, right? And I gave the teacher's name, I won't say it here. And she found that, and I feel bad because, like, looking at it now through, like, grown-up eyes, like, I would be hurt by that. Like, I used to tutor kids, and that would hurt my feelings. And so I feel bad because maybe I hurt her feelings. Like, kids can be mean, you know. But she called my parents and told them about the letter I wrote, like, I hate teacher. So this Page of Imps is a card about wanting to have fun, wanting that second recess, but not being able to, and so sort of acting out. So acting out because there's a lack of pleasure. Maybe you feel like, you're struggling financially and you don't get to have any fun. With this midnight card, it's like, going out drinking, staying out until midnight. Drinking does take money. Child, stop. Get over here, please. No, get over here, please. I'm sorry. It's like your ego is saying, I deserve this, and it might put you even further behind. Let's get on to your higher self. We have the Six of Pentacles. We have the Magician reversed. I'm going to keep going. We have Ray. Yoga and exercise are essential to your well-being, peace of mind, and spiritual growth right now. And we have Wide Open. These are very similar. He's standing on top of a mountain with his hands up and coins over here, and she's on top of a mountain with her arms wide open. I feel like your higher self knows that there are plenty of possibilities out in this world, and you are the manifester of your reality, and you're just sort of relying on circumstances to make financial instability better, right? Sort of like blaming it on the job instead of saving or like putting in applications or whatever it is, right? But you know, the Four of Pentacles is usually the saving card, and the Six of Pentacles is usually like a charity, like reciprocity, give and take, exchange type of card. But here I'm seeing it as saving. That your higher self knows you need to save, like not give in to impulses. If a friend calls up and says, hey, let's hang out. Oh, I got a big message. If a friend calls and says, hey, let's hang out, then, you know, not to give in to those impulses to spend all your money. Sometimes having friends is expensive. But thinking of more creative ways to spend your time with Yoga and exercise card wide open, and the Six of Pentacles, you might suggest something like a hike instead of going out drinking, right? A hike does not require any money, so it does get this exercise out. And with the Page of Imps, this is a child who is sort of has ADD, right? And then they're very fiery, spontaneous. They're just like a little firecracker. And they can kind of get wild and out of control, especially when they're not being challenged. But it also is a card of someone who isn't like getting their energy out, right? So with this yoga and exercise, you need to sort of like cardio, getting your heart rate up is important for your inner world because it sort of defrags your mind, helps you sort of balance out emotionally. We have the Queen of Cups in your ego space, but I feel like this is saying like, this is reminding you to balance out. The Queen of Ghosts is someone, if you look at the progression, the Knight of Ghosts is someone who's offering his cup of love to someone else. Sometimes he is in love with the idea of being in love, that he goes from one partner to the next, giving them chocolates and roses. So he's looking for that external partner, right? That external love. But the Queen of Ghosts, she nurtures her own emotional fulfillment, and then anyone who wants to come into her life, you know, she's happy to welcome them into her life, but she makes sure her own cup is filled first, right? So this is about sort of making sure your emotional stability is leveled out first before you, before anything else, above anything else. But I'm getting a big sense of needing to save your money in your ego space. I'm hearing fuck this. I'm sorry for the language, but I'm hearing like, fuck it, fuck this, right? Like giving into impulses, like maybe you wrestle in your head, but why did they say that? I don't know. If you would like a personal reading, we could dig deeper as to why you say that. But I think I have delivered all the messages. Let me know if that resonated. I love you very, very much. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And again, if you would like a personal reading, check the description box below. I love you. Bye.